Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're on the first dev server for updates Fire and Ice, and it's time to have a look at a new AA which is coming to Israel. Israel is actually getting 3 separate AAs in their tech tree. You have the TCM-20, the ZSU-57-2, and also the ZSU-23-4. These are all nice because they add stuff to specific lineups, and one of the things that Israel is lacking right now in a lot of its lineups are anti-air vehicles. So these are all welcome additions. Now we just need some light tanks and some utility vehicles, and everything will be good in the hood when it comes to the Israelis. So the TCM-20 is an American half-track with access to a standard turret. Now, when you have a look at the M13 or the M16, you'll see that it has either dual 50 cals or a quad 50 cal setup. This one's slightly different. It has instead access to 2 HS-404 cannons. Now, the HS-404s don't really have very high amounts of ammunition in each of the magazines that they have, and also they overheat quite quickly, so it's a little bit rough, but you can still put out a decent amount of firepower compared to what you've seen before. And it has a 4-man crew. You got the driver in the front, you got the commander, which he's having a little bit of a trouble holding this gun that we'll talk about in a sec. And then you've got the gunner, who is on the 2 sets of guns on the back, and then also the loader, which is of course helping him out, and a prime target to get machine gunned. There's ammo all over this thing, since the actual drums for the HS-404s are so big, but also don't carry too much ammo, so you gotta watch out for that. You can see there's just ammo stored all over the place, and all of its other features are just kind of your standard half-track. So it's a 10-ton machine, 148 horsepower. It'll be able to canter on roads, but everywhere else it's going to struggle to kind of move through, just because of the wheels in the front really don't enjoy mud, even with access to the tracks at the back. So this vehicle will not be incredibly mobile depending on the conditions, but also it'll be not too bad if you're in certain ones. The guns themselves, the HS-404s, they have a decent reload rate of 1.3 seconds, a pretty good targeting speed as well, thanks to the mechanism that's on this thing, and also just armor-wise, pretty much non-existent. 6.35 millimeters covering most of this stuff, so it's not really going to do anything. You just kind of got to get popped, so might be worth playing this a little bit more defensively than what you've seen previously when it comes to certain AAs. But yeah, so that's at least how to have a look at it. One of the other additions to this American half-track is not just the HS-404s, it also gets a 7.62 M1919A4 in the front. And this actually works, so this will be good for marking targets basically, and nothing else. The M1919A4 doesn't really have the penetration power that is required for killing vehicles, unfortunately, unless they're open-topped, I suppose. So, looking at it as a standard AA, it's got all of the bells and whistles. You've got the different types of rounds that you'd want to bring, you know, the Heffy shells, and then also the APT belts, depending on what you're interested in. You've got the default, which is a mix of both. The 404s pen up to 42 millimeters, which is not too bad, so you can probably get on the side of a lot of light vehicles and be able to rat-a-tat-tat them. But everything else is pretty standard. Gets the artillery support, which is good for it, but doesn't get scouting, so that kind of sucks. But at the same time, you do at least have some light tanks around this BR, so there's that going forward. The TCM-20 is also going to be the lowest BR vehicle in the Israeli tree. That doesn't mean that you should just run it by itself. This thing should be probably ran at 6.0 with the M51, just to give it a little bit of extra AA support for the time being. So I wouldn't just run it as a one-man band lineup, since it's not really going to be able to kill anything on the ground unless that thing on the ground is an imbecile. So yeah, pretty much as simple as that. The customization wise, it does have a few skins, just like a lot of the Israeli stuff. So you got a desert camo, you got a winter camo, and then of course you have the tricolor camo, which is the nice one. This one looks absolutely beautiful on the Macavers, by the way. It's a fantastic skin to kind of see around the place. So yeah, Israel finally is not just getting a bunch of MBTs that, let's be honest, a lot of them weren't required. It's also getting itself a nice little AA and a Shilka and a ZSU-57, which, you know, the 57 is basically it's basically a tank destroyer, but also at the same time, you know, it's kind of nice to see. And, you know, we did a little bit of damage to that, but not too much. You can see the reload super nice on this, just to show you about the overheating issue on this gun. So you can see here that it's overheating quite aggressively, and because the reload is pretty quick, it's very easy to reload and then kind of just overheat the guns once again. So you got to be a bit careful about that stuff. You can't just kind of sit there and just keep shooting over and over and over again. But yeah, it's one of those that you don't actually have a ton of ammo in. Like, it bleeds through ammo pretty quickly, but don't worry, you've got a little machine gun on the front. So if anything goes wrong, the commander can rat-a-tat-tat. And the loader, if he survives a battle, I'll be quite impressed. What is quite cool is you can throw this thing around the place, and the loader just doesn't seem phased at all. You know, he's just chilling, enjoying life on the back. His center of gravity is masterminded. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing, knows exactly how to be in this world, and he's just enjoying life as he goes. But as more options come in for Israel, you can't be mad. The tech tree itself is not the best. It's a lot of vehicles which are pretty good, you know, in the form of the medium tanks, but it just doesn't have anything extra. With the addition of these AAs, hopefully that extra thing is, you know, it gives it a decent time. I'm hoping that in the future they add more stuff to this Israeli tech tree. I hope that they just keep adding to it. They have actually put a lot of effort into adding a ton of stuff to the tech tree over the little bit of time that it's been out. Like, when you think about all of the new vehicles that it's got, even if they are very similar, it's still nice to see. The aviation portion is still a problem around this BR though. They don't really have a ton of CAS elements, which is not great, but at least this issue is solved in some way, which is what we're looking for. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Forge, Siegebreak, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, and also Sem Arslan, Wilkski, Uncle Bean, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.